You mentioned 1979, beginning your career. You're 27, about to turn 28 years old. You're a young man just setting out in your career, and you get hired by the Texas Rangers. What were those early years like for you as you are beginning what you probably didn't know then was going to be this decades-long run?
I had no idea. In fact, I was a hockey announcer. I grew up wanting to be the voice of the Rangers, the New York Rangers. And
funny how life works out, right?
I had minor league hockey jobs for 6 years in Muskegon, Michigan, and Oklahoma City, and then in Dallas for 2 years. I got hired to do the Ranger games based on a 4-game audition into a cassette recorder. They hired me to start the next year, and I'm convinced the big reason they hired me is they didn't have to pay moving expenses. I was already here.
Whatever it takes.
And I loved the Rangers. I loved baseball. Even though I was broadcasting hockey, I was going to Ranger games on a regular basis, and so I knew what was going on. I was familiar with who the players were, so I was able to do a passable audition, even though I'd never broadcast baseball. The pacing in broadcasting baseball is completely different from hockey.
Yeah.
The two sports couldn't be more different. And in order to develop the conversational style that people are comfortable listening to on a baseball broadcast, it took years. And the first couple of years, I've listened to some of those tapes. I don't want to hear them anymore. It sounded like baseball on ice. It was a little too frantic for a Major League Baseball game, and it really took a while, to get it down. I was very fortunate. My first partner was John Miller, who went on to do Sunday Night Baseball for a long time. And, he's been the voice of the San Francisco Giants for many years. So he kind of became my mentor as a baseball announcer. And then a couple of years later, Mark Holtz was brought in, and he had done minor league hockey in Denver for a long time. And he was one of the very best at using his personality and making people know that he was a good guy. And that's part of the secret of being a successful baseball announcer is, it's so frequent that people hear you. It's every day that you have to wear well on people. They have to think you're a good guy. They have to have the feeling they want to hang out with you. It's almost more important than the way you describe a home run or a game-winning play is how they feel about you, because there's so much time you're just talking.
Yeah.
In a 3-hour baseball game, the ball's in play for less than 15 minutes. The rest of the time is the announcers going blah, blah, blah. And, people have to be comfortable listening to it. They have to enjoy listening to it and be relaxed listening to it. It's not like hockey where there's an urgency to it all the time, or football where every play is a big play because there are only 16 games. It's a whole different experience, a whole different broadcast skill. And it really did take a while. I was very fortunate the Rangers stuck with me. One of the reasons was when I was hired, one of the reasons they hired me was I told them I would help them sell advertising too, which I had always done in my minor league hockey jobs.
Oh, yeah.
And they were looking for help that way. And I was actually pretty good at it. I didn't like it, but I sold a lot of advertising. I made them some money. And as a result, I think they were willing to live with me despite how rough it might have sounded the first year or two, because I was making some money for them.